in a minute. All right. How's it going? First? Good. Did y'all know? What did y'all think about yesterday's conversation? Did y'all think about that anymore last night? What? Raise your hand so we can talk about it a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
I went home and I watched the video, and I watched my videos about it, and I was thinking maybe it wasn't necessarily racist. I think it was just he was being stereotypical about him, and because he really wasn't saying, he's black, like I hate black people. He wasn't saying that, but I think he had a stereotype about that kind of person because he said he had on a hoodie and he was like he just looked no good, and he's stereotyping because he was black. I think he wasn't being racist.
Yes, ma'am. I think you made a good point.
On the recording that I watched yesterday, they had said that he had called him a person word and the N-word.
See, originally what happened was when we released the audio tape, they bleeped out a word. And everyone thought for a while that he was saying, now I'm not trying to be offensive.
The N-word?
No. Well, he said, coon. C-O-O-N. That's another negative word. Coon.
What is it?
It's a bad connotation for an African American. That's what they thought he said. Hold on. So the news channels were reporting that he said something racial. When in fact all he'd done was he cussed. No, he didn't cuss. He said these. I'm not going to say the word, but it wasn't a racial epithet. So everyone thought he had said for like the first 3 or 4 days they thought he said a racial word. Because it was bleeped out, no one knew what he said. But when they exposed it, it was just a cuss word. That's all. It was just trying to hide the cuss word. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Why would he be wearing a hoodie in the first place?
It was raining.
It was raining.
Because he wanted to. Y'all would.
It was raining.
It was raining. It was raining.
Like he said, he should be wearing a hoodie. Like everyone wears hoodies.
Here's their issue. Once again, to the stereotype that I'm just yes, ma'am.
It also said that Trayvon had attacked him, but how did Trayvon attack him if he never saw him?
Because Trayvon, George Zimmerman catches up with him, and then Trayvon turns around and they start arguing. Is that your question? Last night, even more evidence came out. Another eyewitness came out last night. It was like 9 o'clock last night. They made a report about someone else coming out about it. The big thing that's really come out of this, though, was 2 things. One, President Obama's remarks on it. He said that he felt bad for the family.
Yeah.
And justice must be served. And then he said this, which I didn't think was very controversial, but some people do. He said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. And I empathize with the parents. People were saying, well, so you're saying the only reason why you empathize or feel bad for the situation is because you have a son who might look like Trayvon? Because he's African American? Is that the only reason why you care? Some people have taken that as that.
I want to know what he would be.
I would have said the same thing, though. I said, if I had a son, he would be like Trayvon's age or something like that. That's what I would might have said. Yes?
You know his mom is trying to make his name like a cat? It's like to get money out of it.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what makes sense.
Yes, sir?
Oh yeah, this ain't the topic, but like when I was young, I watched TV like, hey, Brad, you think something like that? And like this Black Spring came with talking about some little baby was missing, and that it was gonna take across the Alabama.
I haven't heard about that either. Sorry. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah.
Sir?
They had said that he got suspended from school for possession of weed.
Yeah.
My issue with that is why does it matter in this case? Does it make it? No, you're right. I'm glad a lot of people know that now. They're saying, well, maybe he was a trouble child. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. It was, at the time, regarding this, he was doing nothing bad. There was nothing. I mean, there's all the proofs he wasn't doing anything wrong. The other thing that's kind of controversial is obviously it's reunite the Black Panthers. They've got
they put $10,000.
Right. They put out a $10,000 bounty on George Zimmerman's head.
I'll go get him.
And Spike Lee was writing on Twitter, look, if anyone knows where he is, let me know, and I'll tweet everybody so someone can find him.
If you give me
That to me is very, very, very dangerous. It seems like in Florida, it's like a breakdown wall is very, very possible. Somebody's going to do something crazy.
Somebody gonna
Yeah, I'm
try to
saying, if you go to jail, they're gonna kill them.
The issue is this, and someone made a point last night, one of my friends made a point. Over St. Patrick's weekend, in Detroit, there was 49 shootings.
What?
Black on black crimes. That's just in Detroit. 49 shootings in one city. Nobody talked about that. And this is what one of my friends was saying. But if it appears to be a racial thing, then everyone cares about it. But if it's black on black crime, why does no one care about that issue? And I think maybe that's a good point too. But anyway, we don't have to get all the deal. Yes, ma'am.
They took his mugshot, so he did go to jail when he got out.
Who? George Zimmerman?
Yeah, they took his
Yeah, he had.
He went to jail, but he wasn't arrested. He was never arrested. He's not arrested because you got to have probable cause, and they don't. All they know is that it's self-defense. They have no cause to believe that he wasn't doing anything other than self-defense. So if they arrest him, because he was saying that he was defending himself.
His gun was unorthodox.
He was licensed.
They said he wasn't supposed to have a gun. They came from the grocery store. He wasn't even on duty. That's what.
For I understand he has a gun license. Or concealed
Okay,
weapons.
just because you got license don't mean you can be shooting.
No, I know, but he had the right to carry his gun with him. From what I
But you
understand.
didn't have no right to shoot them. But he had
If it's self-defense, he does. That's the question. Was it self-defense? We can't, honestly, I don't know all the details. I don't think anyone does. It's going to come out more. We gotta move on. We gotta move on. Just one more comment. Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about it?
What if it was
Y'all really care how I feel about it?
Yes.
I don't know that it was racially motivated. I don't know that it is. I do think she's right to some degree. There's a stereotype that was being portrayed. I don't think he said, well, there's a black kid, he's instantly guilty. I think that in George Zimmerman's head, he was saying, look, this is an opportunity for me to stop something that's going on in my neighborhood. I see someone who's never been in my neighborhood, it looks suspicious, I'm going to act on it. I think things spiraled out of control. I think it is a tragedy. I think it's one of the worst things I can think of. You know what started the KKK again in the 1930s? A young girl was killed in Atlanta. And that's what started the KKK again. I can see a parallel being drawn here, that the Black Panthers are starting to rise again. I think this could be something very, very big if it isn't handled properly. So I'm very, very scared of the consequences of this. Because this is going to impact you if people don't handle this in an appropriate manner. If one person thinks they're going to take George Zimmerman's life into their own hand, and they don't do the right thing, things are going to get out of control in this country. One, he's a Mexican American. All right? He's a Mexican American. That's going to have some consequences if there is a racial divide between Mexican Americans and African Americans in this country over this issue, which there could very possibly be. I don't think y'all. I don't think any of us. In our lifetime, we have not experienced the racial things they had in the '60s. You know, and they very possibly could go to that level. I think even within this classroom, some of y'all might already start to feel a little bit of the tension between the racial question. So you be careful what you say and do. Yes, ma'am.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Like, you said the only reason he was in jail because it was self-defense. So if they find out it was like racial profiling.